Watertown City Council member Ben Shoen wants to have more people pay into the pot to provide fire service in the city. 7 News reporter Chad Charette learns the council member's idea and who it could affect.
If this happens, it will bring down the taxes for every resident in the city.
This being a switch up to how firefighting could be funded in the city of Watertown. Right now, property owners pay for fire service through their property taxes, but not every property pays that tax. Nonprofits, government-owned buildings, and churches are exempt.
The impact of all those exemptions on every homeowner is $569 a year.
City Council member Ben Shoen wants to do something new, take fire service out of the city tax, and implement a fire service fee that would have all properties, with the exception of government buildings, paying into the pot for the city's paid department. So who'd have to start paying? Shoen says properties owned by Samaritan Medical Center, along with nonprofit organizations like Credo Community Center. And possibly even churches like the one behind me. But according to City Manager Eric Wagonar, there's a lot of gray area that officials will have to look into before making any final decisions.
I think anytime we have an idea or a concept that could potentially reduce the tax burden on the taxpayers, it's something we need to research and take a hard look at.
How much could taxpayers save? Well, that depends on how many properties end up having to pay. Shoen has a ballpark estimate, though.
If we can even get a quarter of those properties paying towards their fire fee, maybe it brings down the average homeowner's taxes by, I don't know, $25, $50.
We reached out to Samaritan Medical Center, which could be affected by the proposal. Director of Communications Leslie DeStefano told us, quote, Samaritan will await the council's decision and provide any information needed, end quote. Chad Charette, 7 News.